The Russian authorities are planning to start mass recruitment of troops to reinforce the military grouping in Ukraine and encircle Kharkiv. Four sources close to the presidential administration and the defense ministry told Verstka News and Analysis website about this. Reservists may be forcibly called up to the troops, conscripts may be contracted, and Russians who are in the reserve may be mobilized.
Last time it was widespread and harsh, so now the authorities will probably try to carry out a soft, creeping mobilization at the expense of conscripts, students of military universities, calling up some specialists for training and so on. Ilya Grashchenkov, political scientist, in an interview with Verstka.
In the occupied part of Donbass, men have already started to be summoned to military enlistment offices under various pretexts. The most common one is for the data verification, but some men are immediately sent to training camps and from there to the front. Their relatives report on social networks. Signs that the occupants have started preparing for the new wave of mobilization are becoming more frequent in the occupied part of Luhansk region.
The spring wave of forced mobilization in the so-called Luhansk People's Republic began with the conscriptions of males born between 1994 and 2006. Those who turned 18 last year or this year will be found quickly, because the occupants have been collecting personal data on young people for 2 years, in particular through educational institutions, so their whereabouts are known. Artem Lysogor, head of the Lugansk Regional Military Administration.
Russia needs at least 300,000 people. This was previously reported by the Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu. From April 1st, it is planned to call up to 150,000 people for compulsory service. This is the maximum in the 8 years. On March 29th, the Russian General Staff promised that the conscripted soldiers will not be sent to the occupied territories of Ukraine or to the combat zone. Therefore, a new wave of mobilization is unlikely to be avoided. Activists of the movement for the return of mobilized people said. On March 31st, they came up with a solitary picket in Moscow. The law enforcers immediately warned them that the solitary picket could be regarded as discrediting the armed forces of the Russian Federation.
I think that most likely there will be a second wave of mobilization, and unfortunately it will not even be to replace our men. Most likely it will be to replenish the ranks, because this indefinite presence of men there has moved down a lot of people. I also think that there will most likely be a second wave, but I think it will not be now but later, and as a rule it will be to support the front line to make up for losses. So there will be no return of our men. At least it's not evident from the rhetoric of the top officials.
Russia is already building up reserves to continue fighting in Ukraine. This is stated in a report by American Institute for the Study of War. Its analysts believe that this will allow Russia to maintain the current pace on the front in Ukraine, but such reserves will not be significant for a large-scale offensive in 2024. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Natalia Husak, Volodymyr Штангелов, UATV News.